This week, I wanted to talk a little bit about the difference between value and the bottom line. And if you're going to be an effective executive, you need to realize that your aim is to create long term value and not necessarily make decisions based on the bottom line. And I'm going to draw from Randy Pausch, who wrote the last lecture. He had pancreatic cancer. He was terminal. He went around and did a bunch of lectures. And one of the stories he tells is in chapter 50. And he talks about how his family went to Disney World when he was 12 years old. And his parents had given his sister and himself an opportunity to roam the park, together on their own without, the parents following them everywhere or vice versa. So they decided that they really liked that gesture and that they felt their parents or that their parents felt that they were mature enough to be able to handle, roaming the park on their own. And so they decided that they would get a gift for their parents. So they went to a shop and they found a salt and pepper shaker that they wanted. It was, a $10 purchase. And this would have been, I guess, in 1972 or 3. And they purchased it. And then on the way out, Randy dropped the package and broke the salt and pepper shaker. And he and his sister were very upset about it. And a guest stopped by and basically said, you might want to just take it back to the shop and they'll replace it. And so they did. And the attendee at the shop, or the cast member, I guess, since it's Disney World, at the shop, replaced it and even said, we probably should have packaged it better or something to that effect. And Randy Pausch, who was also was on a sabbatical while he was getting his PhD as an Imagineer at Disney for a period of time, years later. But he had an opportunity to talk to some of the executives, and he basically told them that $10 salt and pepper shaker replacement really could be valued at $100,000 for Disney because of all the times that they would go back to Disney World. They just always had such a good time, and just there was nothing that was preventing them from saying, boy, I had a bad experience because they didn't replace the salt and pepper shaker or anything of that sort. And that such a small gesture had such great value, and that it was something that wasn't on the financials. Your balance doesn't show up on your balance sheet and income statement. And he said, when he would approach executives, years later, he'd talk about this experience and, would ask the question, would policies prevent a cast member from replacing it today? And the answer was probably not. So I think this is a great story to illustrate, and I think just the time of the year too, but starting to understand how we can create long-term value that can't be measured in the financials. And there's such an obsession, and a lot of it has to do with what's being taught at universities about, the bottom line and knowing the cost of everything, but the value of nothing. And I think it's so important for you to be an effective executive to realize the long-term value of certain things and certain actions that you can take in your company. Now, the follow-on story or the postscript to this was they actually have at Disney World near the teacups which would be Magic Kingdom, a plaque that says, and it was a Randy Pausch quote, "Be good at something. It makes you valuable. Have something to bring to the table because that will make you more welcome." And it sits there. So next time you go to Disney World, you can take a look. It's one of my favorite places. I love to go to Disney World. We go at least once a year, sometimes twice, usually for the Food and Wine Festival. But I thought that was a good story for the week of Christmas and a good way to kind of end the week. Have a nice holiday.